Hello, welcome to the final module of our MOOC, Advancing Learning Through Evidence-Based STEM Teaching. In the first module, you developed a working knowledge of teaching as research, about how to use a cycle of inquiry to explore a classroom, learning community, or learning through diversity implementation. You explored how to come up with a teaching as research question, test it, and see how it affects student learning. Then, you had several more modules on active learning. You explored a variety of different methodologies, including peer instruction, collaborative learning, problem-based learning, and inquiry-based labs. You then had a module on inclusive teaching. These 5 modules on active learning and inclusive teaching have given you some experience with a variety of methodologies to create more effective, student-centered, and inclusive learning environments. The overall learning goal of this final module is for you to plan a teaching as research project, use these methodologies of active learning and inclusive teaching if you want, or other ones that you have some experience with. It's really up to you. You will develop a research or teaching question, you'll explore different kinds of objectives, you'll consider different assessments of those objectives, you'll look into different ways of implementing the change that you seek to achieve. You'll connect what you are planning for your teaching as research project to how that might affect how you are as a future teacher. Functionally, we will do these in groups using an edX tool to bring groups together. And so throughout this module, you'll work either with a MOOC-centered learning community or together with other teammates to go through this process of developing your own teaching as research plan. We have a set of different learning goals for this module, and the first learning goal is really about the TAR teaching and learning question. You'll be able to identify the key characteristics of it, how to analyze a TAR question, and how you can write your own for the project that you have. You'll listen to how former fellows have developed their own teaching as research question and the struggles that they had and the way that they developed it. Our second learning goal is then to be able to write down some evidence-based objectives. The outcome of a TAR project is an implementation, and so the objective is really the outcomes associated with the planned intervention. What do you want to happen in the end? How will you figure out whether it's evidence-based or not? Evidence-based means, of course, there's something in literature that tells us about those kind of objectives for student learning or changes in functional learning communities or inclusive teaching. The next learning goal will really focus on the assessment component. You'll learn how to assess whether your planned intervention will achieve these learning goals and objectives that you write for them. You'll be able to describe the assessment objectives and other participants' objectives in your team. That is, you'll review each other's assessment approaches. Next, you will design and describe the teaching and learning intervention or change that you are planning to use to achieve your objective. You'll demonstrate how this implementation aligns with your assessment. Next, you'll be able to describe how your TAR project, as conceived, can potentially change instruction, environments, or communities around teaching and learning. It's important to take your plan for your TAR project, your teaching as research project, and think about how that might affect either your future teaching or other kinds of future teaching. You will reflect on how you think about teaching and learning, whether it's in one of your future classrooms, a learning community, or an outreach activity to improve inclusion and diversity in the classroom. You'll consider how your interventions in a proposed teaching as research project might affect your future students. You'll think about how that activity might affect different kinds of instruction that you might be interested in doing. Finally, at the very end, your team members and you will have a plan. You will have rubrics for evaluation, example posters from many former TAR fellows, and a worksheet to help guide you through this entire process.